In a distant galaxy, there was a planet called Zephyr. Once a bright and lively place, Zephyr had become a shadow of its former self. A powerful alien empire called the Zarkons swept through the galaxy, leaving destruction in their wake. They crushed anyone who dared to resist them, and now they had set their sights on Zephyr. On this planet, the last survivors gathered in a small, hidden village. The people were tired and scared. They had lost their homes, families, and hope. In the center of the village, a large gathering took place. Men, women, and children huddled together, whispering about their fears. The air was heavy with sadness. "Why should we even try?" a young woman named Alara asked, tears in her eyes. "The Zarkans will come for us soon. They always do. We are all alone." Her words echoed through the crowd, and many nodded in agreement. They all felt the weight of despair. In the back of the gathering, a small group of humans stood quietly. They had come to Zephyr to help, but they felt helpless too. Among them was Captain Alex, a brave and determined leader. He had seen the Zarkans destroy other worlds and knew they were capable of great evil. Captain Alex couldn't bear to see the people of Zephyr lose hope. As he listened to the villagers, an idea sparked in his mind. He stepped forward, raising his hand to quiet the crowd. "Please, everyone!" he said, his voice strong. "I know things look dark right now, but we cannot give up. We have the power to fight back." The villagers stared at him, their expressions a mix of surprise and doubt. "Who are you to say such things?" An elder man called out. "You are not from here. You don't know our pain." "I may not be from Zephyr," Captain Alex replied, "but I am human, and we have faced many battles. We have fought against overwhelming odds before. Together we can stand up to the Zarkans." A murmur of confusion rippled through the crowd. Some people exchanged glances, wondering if they could really trust a stranger. Captain Alex noticed the hesitation in their eyes, and he pressed on. "I have seen hope rise from the ashes. I have seen people unite to fight against despair. You are not alone in this fight." The villagers listened closely. Captain Alex continued, "If we work together, we can form a plan to resist the Zarkons. We can train and fight back. We have the strength within us to protect our home." Ilara, still filled with doubt, raised her hand again. "But what if we fail? What if we lose everything?" Her voice trembled as she spoke. Captain Alex stepped closer to her, his eyes filled with determination. "What if we succeed? What if we inspire others to join us? Hope is like a spark. Once it ignites, it can set fire to everything around it. We can be that spark for Zephyr." Slowly, the villagers began to feel a flicker of hope. They looked at each other and saw a shared determination in their eyes. Captain Alex's words resonated with them. Maybe they could fight back after all. That night, the villagers gathered to discuss their next steps. They formed small groups, each focused on a different part of the plan. Some would gather supplies, while others would train to defend themselves. The humans joined in, sharing their knowledge of combat and strategy. As the moon rose high above Zephyr, the villagers began to feel a new energy. For the first time in a long while, laughter echoed in the air. People worked together, their spirits lifting as they found strength in each other. Hope had not vanished completely. It had only been waiting for the right moment to return. In the darkness, Captain Alex watched as the villagers united. He knew that their journey would be difficult, but he also knew that they had taken the first step. The fight for Zephyr had begun, and with it came the promise of hope. As dawn broke over Zephyr, the villagers awoke with a newfound sense of purpose. The air was different, lighter, filled with possibilities. Captain Alex had sparked a flame of hope, and now it was time to act. The village buzzed with excitement as everyone gathered in the central square to discuss their plan. Ilara stood beside Captain Alex, her eyes shining with determination. "What's our first step?" she asked, her voice steady. She had transformed from a fearful girl into a brave leader overnight. Captain Alex looked around at the eager faces. "First, we need to gather information about the Zarkans. We need to know their strengths and weaknesses. If we want to fight back, we must understand our enemy." The villagers nodded, understanding the importance of this task. They needed to be smart and strategic. Alex continued, "We'll form small teams. Some will scout the outskirts of the village, while others will keep an eye on the Zarkon patrols. We need to know their movements." A man named Joran, known for his quick feet and sharp eyes, raised his hand. "I can lead a team to the north. I know the hills well. We can find out where the Zarkans are stationed." Good idea, Joran, Alex replied, smiling. And I need someone to work on our defenses. We must protect our village from any surprise attacks. Ilara, would you take charge of that? Ilara nodded enthusiastically. I will gather everyone who knows how to build and fortify. We need strong barriers and traps. Her heart raced at the thought of taking action. With tasks assigned, the villagers quickly formed teams. Laughter and chatter filled the square as people prepared for their missions. The mood was infectious. Hope fueled their spirits, and they were ready to take on the world. As the sun climbed higher, Joran's team set out towards the north. They moved quietly, careful to avoid drawing attention to themselves. The landscape was rugged, with rocky hills and dense forests. Joran led the way, his heart pounding with both fear and excitement. He knew the Zarkons were ruthless, but he felt strong knowing he was not alone. Meanwhile, Ilara gathered her group of builders and fighters. They found tools and materials scattered around the village. Let's start with the walls, Ilara instructed. We need to make sure they are tall and strong. If the Zarkons come, they won't easily get in. The villagers worked together, using their hands and minds to create barriers. Some collected stones, while others crafted makeshift weapons. Ilara moved among them, cheering them on, her spirit contagious. She felt proud to be part of something bigger than herself. After several hours, Joran and his team returned, breathless but filled with excitement. "We saw a Zarkan camp!" he shouted, drawing everyone's attention. "They have a lot of ships and guards, but there's a weakness in their defenses, a blind spot near the east side." The villagers gasped, their eyes wide with surprise. Captain Alex stepped forward, intrigued. "This is good news. If we can exploit that blind spot, we might have a chance to strike them when they least expect it." Joran nodded, his confidence growing. "We should plan a surprise attack. If we hit them fast and hard, we can take out their supplies and scare them away." Ilara looked at Alex, her eyes filled with determination. "We can do this! We have the element of surprise on our side. We can train hard, gather more supplies, and be ready for when we strike." Captain Alex smiled, feeling proud of the villagers. "Yes! We will gather our forces and prepare for battle, but we must act carefully. We'll set a date for our strike and use every day until then to train and fortify our defenses." As the villagers cheered, they felt a surge of energy. They were no longer just survivors, they were warriors. A plan was forming, and they could see a glimmer of victory on the horizon. With hope in their hearts and determination in their souls, they were ready to fight for their home. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the village, they worked late into the night. They were tired but filled with purpose. The sounds of laughter and the clinking of tools filled the air. Zephyr was alive again, and everyone was ready for the challenges ahead. Together they would rise against the darkness. The sun rose over Zephyr, casting a warm glow on the village. Excitement filled the air as the villagers prepared for their first strike against the Zarkan Empire. After days of training and planning, everyone felt ready. Hope burned bright in their hearts, and they were determined to reclaim their home. Captain Alex stood at the front of the gathering, looking at the faces filled with courage and determination. "Today is the day we take action," he announced. "We have trained hard, and now we will strike the Zarkan camp. Remember, we have the element of surprise on our side. Stay sharp and stick to the plan." The villagers cheered, their spirits high. Each person felt a mix of fear and excitement, but they were united in their cause. As they gathered their supplies and weapons, Ilara moved through the crowd, giving words of encouragement. "We can do this! We are fighting for our families and our home." Her words lifted everyone's spirits, and they felt ready to face the challenge. The group set out towards the Zarkan camp, moving quietly through the woods. Joran led the way, recalling the blind spot he had seen during his scouting mission. "We need to approach from the east," he whispered. "Stay low and follow my lead." As they neared the camp, the sight of the Zarkan ships made their hearts race. The massive metal vessels loomed in the distance, guarded by fierce alien soldiers. The villagers crouched behind the trees, watching as the Zarkans moved about, completely unaware of the danger coming their way. "Okay, everyone, remember your positions," Captain Alex instructed. "Ilara, you take the left flank. Joran, you and your team will create a distraction. The rest of us will hit the supplies. Move on my signal." The tension in the air was palpable. The villagers nodded, their eyes focused on their goal. They could feel the weight of the moment, but they were ready to fight. Captain Alex raised his hand, and with a deep breath, he signaled the start of the attack. Joran and his team sprang into action, rushing towards the Zarkan guards. They threw rocks and shouted, drawing the attention of the soldiers. "Over here!" Joran yelled, his heart pounding. The Zarkon guards turned, confused by the sudden commotion. As the guards moved away from the supplies, Captain Alex led his group forward. They quickly made their way to the stacked crates and barrels filled with weapons and food. "Hurry! Grab what you can!" he ordered. The villagers worked quickly, grabbing as much as they could carry. But just as they were about to leave, a loud alarm sounded through the camp. The Zarkan soldiers realized something was wrong and began to rush back. "We need to go now!" Alara shouted, her voice filled with urgency. The villagers scrambled to escape, but they had taken enough supplies to make a difference. They fled into the trees, their hearts racing as they heard the angry shouts of the Zarkans behind them. Once they reached the safety of the forest, they paused to catch their breath. Captain Alex raised a fist in victory. "We did it! We struck at their heart and took supplies!" This is only the beginning. The villagers erupted in cheers, their hearts filled with joy. They returned to the village where the atmosphere was electric with excitement. The supplies they had taken would help them fortify their defenses even more. Ilara, catching her breath, grinned at Captain Alex. "We actually did it! We hit them where it hurts!" "Yes, and we can do it again," Alex replied, feeling a surge of pride for his team. "This will show the Zarkons that we are not afraid. We will keep fighting, and we will keep winning." Over the next few days, the villagers continued their attacks on the Zarkon camps. Each strike was bold and calculated, and with each victory, their confidence grew. They learned to work together using their unique strengths to outsmart the Zarkans. The Zarkans, once feared, began to realize that the people of Zephyr were not easy targets. They were rising against oppression, and their spirit was unbreakable. The villagers inspired each other, fueling their hope for a brighter future. As the villagers gathered each night to celebrate their victories, they shared stories of bravery and courage. They became a family, united by a common goal. With each successful strike, they felt their bond grow stronger, and the hope of a free Zephyr burned brighter than ever. After weeks of daring strikes against the Zarkan Empire, the villagers of Zephyr felt a surge of confidence. They had proven their strength and courage time and time again. Now they had a bold plan for their biggest attack yet. Captain Alex gathered everyone in the village square to discuss the next steps. "We've learned a lot about the Zarkons and their weaknesses," Alex said, his voice strong. "Now it's time to hit them where it hurts the most, their command center. This is where their leaders are, and if we can take it down, we can cripple their control over our planet." The villagers listened intently, excitement and determination filling the air. Alara stepped forward, her eyes shining. "What's the plan, Captain? How do we get inside?" Captain Alex pointed to a map he had drawn on a large piece of cloth. "This is the Zarkan Command Center. It's heavily guarded, but there's a weak spot we can exploit." Joran found a path through the forest that leads to the back of the center. "It's less protected, and we can use it to sneak in." Joran nodded, remembering his scouting mission. "If we move quietly and quickly, we can get past the guards. We need to be ready for anything once we're inside." The villagers exchanged nervous glances, but their excitement overpowered their fear. They knew this was a risky move, but they also knew it was necessary. They were fighting for their freedom, and they couldn't back down now. As the sun set, they prepared for the assault. Each person gathered supplies, weapons, and anything they might need for the battle ahead. The atmosphere was electric with energy and determination. They were ready to fight for their home. Under the cover of night, the villagers moved silently through the forest. The moonlight guided their way as they approached the Zarkan Command Center. Captain Alex led the group, his heart pounding with both fear and excitement. This was it, the moment they had been waiting for. As they reached the back of the command center, they could see the guards patrolling the area. "Stay low and quiet," Alex whispered. The villagers crouched behind trees and rocks, watching the guards closely. Joran took the lead, signaling to the others to follow. They moved swiftly, using the shadows to hide their presence. The path was narrow, and every sound felt amplified in the stillness of the night. The villagers held their breath, feeling the weight of the moment. When they reached the back entrance, Joran quickly checked the area. "It's clear," he whispered. They slipped inside the command center, the air heavy with tension. Inside, they found themselves in a dimly lit hallway. The walls were cold and metallic, and the sound of distant voices echoed through the corridors. Captain Alex motioned for everyone to stay close. "We need to find the control room. That's where we can disrupt their operations." They moved cautiously through the halls, avoiding the guards and listening carefully for any sounds that might give them away. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. They had come so far, and failure was not an option. Finally, they reached a large door marked with strange symbols. "This must be it," Ilara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is the control room." With a nod from Captain Alex, Joran pushed open the door. Inside, they found Zarkan soldiers working at control panels, unaware of the danger approaching. Captain Alex took a deep breath and raised his weapon. "Now!" he shouted. The villagers rushed in, catching the Zarkans off guard. A fierce battle broke out, with villagers fighting alongside their alien allies. The control room filled with chaos as they pushed forward, determined to take control. Ilara fought bravely, using her skills to take down Zarkan soldiers. Joran darted between the panels, disrupting their systems and causing alarms to blare. "We're doing it!" he shouted, feeling the thrill of victory. As the battle raged on, Captain Alex focused on the main control panel. He knew if he could disable their communications, it would create confusion among the Zarkans. He quickly worked to dismantle the system, feeling the pressure of time. With one final push, the control panel sparked and went dark. The alarm stopped, and silence fell over the command center. The Zarkans looked around in shock, realizing they had lost control. The villagers cheered, feeling a surge of victory. As they fought their way out of the command center, the villagers felt unstoppable. They had struck a significant blow against the Zarkan Empire, and their hope for freedom burned brighter than ever. Together, they had faced their fears and emerged victorious. The sun rose over Zephyr, shining brightly on the village that had fought so hard for its freedom. The air was filled with a sense of victory and relief. The villagers had successfully taken down the Zarkan command center, striking a major blow against their oppressors. As they gathered in the village square, a feeling of hope washed over them. Captain Alex stood at the front, looking at the faces filled with joy and pride. "We did it! Together, we faced the Zarkans, and we won!" he announced, his voice ringing with excitement. The villagers cheered, their spirits high. They had proven that they were not just survivors, but warriors ready to fight for their home. Ilara stepped forward, her heart swelling with pride. "We have shown the Zarkans that we will not back down. We are united, and together we can achieve anything." Her words resonated with everyone, reminding them of their journey from despair to hope. The villagers began to celebrate their victory. They danced and sang, their laughter echoing through the streets. But amid the joy, they also took time to remember those who had fought alongside them. Many brave souls had sacrificed their lives for freedom, and the villagers honored their memories with gratitude. As the celebrations continued, Captain Alex called for attention. "We must also think about the future," he said, his expression turning serious. "The Zarkans may still try to retaliate. We need to prepare and fortify our village further to ensure our safety." Joran nodded in agreement. "We should rebuild and strengthen our defenses. We can use the supplies we took from the command center to help us." The villagers cheered again, excited to take on this new challenge. In the following days, the villagers worked tirelessly. They built stronger walls and set up lookout points to keep watch for any signs of Zarkan activity. Everyone contributed, from the youngest to the oldest. They dug trenches and erected barriers, turning their village into a fortress. Ilara led a team to organize training sessions, teaching everyone how to defend themselves. The villagers learned to fight together, honing their skills and building their confidence. Each day, they grew stronger and more united. Meanwhile, Captain Alex worked on forming alliances with other villages nearby. He knew that if they were to stand a chance against the Zarkan Empire, they needed to band together. He traveled to neighboring villages, sharing their story of courage and hope. Many were inspired and eager to join the fight. "Together we can create a force that the Zarkans cannot ignore," Alex told them passionately. "We have already proven that we can take back our freedom, and with your help, we can protect it." As word spread, more villages joined their cause. They shared resources and knowledge, creating a network of support. The spirit of unity spread like wildfire, and soon, the once isolated village of Zephyr became the heart of a growing resistance. Months passed, and the villagers of Zephyr continued to thrive. They established a council where everyone had a voice, making decisions together for the good of their community. Ilara took on a leadership role, helping to guide the villagers and ensure everyone felt included. One day, while training in the fields, Alara noticed something strange in the sky.
Look!
She called out, pointing. The villagers turned their heads to see a Zarkan ship hovering in the distance. Fear gripped their hearts, but they quickly remembered the strength they had built together. "Stay calm," Captain Alex shouted, rallying the villagers. "We've trained for this! We will not let fear control us." The villagers gathered their weapons, standing shoulder to shoulder, ready to face whatever came their way. As the Zarkan ship descended, a sense of determination filled the air. The villagers had faced darkness before, and they had come out stronger. Now they were ready to protect their home and their newfound freedom. With hearts full of courage, the villagers of Zephyr stood united, ready for the fight ahead. They were no longer just a small village. They were a symbol of hope and resistance. Together they would face any challenge, proving that the spirit of humanity could never be extinguished. In that moment, they realized that this was not just a battle for survival, it was a new beginning, a new chapter in their story, one filled with hope, strength, and the promise of a brighter future.